The Pacific was quiet, almost reverently so, as if it knew the secret it guarded in its deepest embrace. Sunlight stabbed the waves in thin, trembling fingers, but 3 kilometers down, in the cold darkness where light feared to trespass, the ocean floor slept undisturbed until Chief Engineer Malik Ortiz's sonar picked up a shadow that should not exist. Malik leaned over the control panel, his brow furrowed under the fluorescent glow of the Terran Restoration Corps' salvage vessel. Horizon's Reach. He traced the reading with his fingers, the hum of the ship thrumming in his chest like a heartbeat. "Sonar's not lying," he muttered, almost to himself. That isn't natural." His team crowded around, eyes wide but trained in the stoicism of professional scavengers. Years of war had taught them to hide fear behind calm, but Malik could feel the thrill coursing through his veins. This is what we live for, the impossible. The trench was mapped in wartime archives, catalogued and dismissed. A no-man's zone after the contact wars. The archives told stories of alien fleets passing silently over Earth, of battles that scorched moons and vaporized entire fleets, leaving only a handful of survivors and whispered legends. No human ship had ever touched the trench floor, not officially, and yet, here it was. The object rose like a sleeping Leviathan from the shadows, a vessel so immense it seemed carved from black ice, its surface jagged with scars and pockmarks, a grotesque lattice of alien metal folded over itself like a wound frozen in time. Its hull shimmered faintly, almost breathing beneath the water, as if aware of its new visitors. Malik's hand hovered over the deploy lever. "We get one shot," he said. The team didn't flinch. They never did. They had chosen salvage work after the wars, not because it was safe, but because it demanded audacity, and audacity was Malik's language. When the submersible detached from the mothership and plunged into the abyss, the ocean seemed to close around it. Pressure pressed like 1,000 fists, and darkness became a living thing. Malik's fingers danced across the console, coaxing the submersible down, lights carving twin streaks through the black. And then the first glint. It was subtle, a shimmer along a fracture in the hull, but to Malik it was a scream. Someone or something made this ship, and it's been waiting for us. The sub's cameras revealed the hull in staggering detail. Carvings, or perhaps etchings, ran along its surface, geometric patterns that pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. The metal wasn't just alien, it was alive. Or at least, it had once been. Malik felt an unexpected shiver crawl along his spine. It's sentient," he whispered. Not aloud to the team, just to himself. His father's words from decades ago echoed, "You can always feel a thing that wants to live." They maneuvered closer. The trench walls loomed like dark cliffs, alive with ghostly bioluminescent creatures. They drifted past like ancient spirits, indifferent to human presence. The alien vessel's magnitude was staggering. Even dwarfed by the submersible, it radiated authority, the kind of quiet dominance that made Malik's stomach knot. "This is bigger than we imagined," said Jiro, his second in command, voice crackling through the cum. "We're not just touching history, we're trespassing on it." Malik's eyes narrowed, scanning the hull. Trespassing might be the understatement of the century. They found the entry point almost by accident, a jagged seam that had split open decades ago, perhaps from an internal explosion or battle damage. Inside, the corridors of the alien vessel were an impossible geometry of interlocking planes and shifting surfaces. The walls shimmered with faint luminescence, illuminating the hull with a ghostly glow. It smelled of nothing, yet carried a weight that filled Malik's lungs, as if the ship itself exhaled patience and menace together. They advanced carefully. The submersible's manipulators pried open panels, revealing alien conduits, dormant cores, and machinery that defied human comprehension. Sparks danced along the edges when touched, as though reminding the humans that the ship's systems remembered life. Malik knelt beside one of the cores, brushing away centuries of sediment. "Look at this," he breathed. The surface rippled like water, as if acknowledging his presence. Jiro's voice broke the reverie. "Chief, this thing. It isn't just scrap. If we bring it up, we're risking everything. The fleets, if they come back, they'll want it." Malik's gaze hardened. "And if we leave it down there, we risk losing ourselves. This could be our only chance to survive the next wave. Humanity isn't just going to stand here while alien warlords decide our fate." The tension was palpable, electric in the cramped space of the submersible. Each creak of metal under pressure, each faint vibration from the alien hull, felt like a heartbeat. Malik felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle in his chest, the kind only someone who had built life from scrap and fire could recognize. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. Time bent in the deep. When the team finally secured the ship to the submersible, Malik stared at the behemoth with a mix of awe and fear. They had touched a relic of incomprehensible violence, and yet it had answered. It responded to them. Back on the surface, the sun had dipped below the horizon, bleeding reds and golds across the Pacific. The horizon's reach hummed quietly, cradling the alien Leviathan in its grasp. Malik stood at the rail, hands clenched around the cold steel, staring at the ocean. He felt, for the first time, something he hadn't in years, a spark of hope. Not for himself, not for glory, but for the planet, for the ragged survivors of humanity who had endured the wars, the contact, and the quiet death of despair. This ship, abandoned by its creators, might just become the tool through which humanity reclaimed its future. And yet, there was an unease curling beneath the thrill, the whisper that humanity wasn't merely finding the ship. It was waiting. Malik closed his eyes. "God help us," he muttered under his breath. Not because he doubted, but because survival often felt like prayer, and prayer often felt like survival. Below, in the blackness, the vessel shifted ever so slightly, responding to the touch of human hands as if it recognized a new master, not alien, not conqueror, but human. The ocean held its breath. And somewhere, in the silence of the trench, a long-forgotten warship stirred. Somewhere above, humanity dared to hope and, above all, to act. And as the first human engineers descended into its belly, the ship hummed not with engines, but with anticipation. The horizon's reach had barely settled in the calm night waters when Malik Ortiz returned to the submersible, this time with a team of engineers handpicked for audacity and obsession. They weren't just salvage experts, they were coders, xenomechanics, and dreamers who could see patterns in chaos. Malik felt the weight of their expectations before he even spoke. "Remember," he said, voice low, "we're not here to dismantle. We're here to converse." A ripple ran through the team. Jiro tilted his head, skeptical. "Converse with a warship? You've lost it, Chief." Malik smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. He understood the line between genius and madness, and sometimes the ocean forced you to cross it. Not with words, Jiro, with persistence. With patience. With us. The submersible descended again, slipping through the trench like a silver needle threading an impossible seam. Darkness pressed in on every side, and the alien vessel loomed larger than imagination could hold, the water above refracting the ship's fractured silhouette into ghostly arcs. Inside the ship, the corridors hummed faintly, a vibration beneath the skin of human perception. The engineers spread out, hands brushing alien surfaces, sensors scanning, neural-linked diagnostic tools flickering across screens. Malik paused at one junction, noticing a panel pulsate faintly in response to his heartbeat. "It reacts to us," he thought, awe mingled with fear. "We're not just touching metal," whispered Lena, a xenomechanical specialist. "It's alive. In some way, it's aware we're here." Malik nodded slowly, a subtle unease curling around his spine. Awareness wasn't sentience, but it was enough. Humans had a knack for pushing the boundaries of the impossible. Where the alien mind had ended, human curiosity could begin. Hours stretched into an eerie rhythm. The team probed conduits, decrypted alien scripts, and coaxed dormant energy cores to life. Sparks of frustration and exhilaration alternated. Every success felt miraculous, every failure like the abyss whispering reminders of mortality. Then came the first breakthrough. A console flickered, faint alien symbols translating imperfectly into human understanding. Malik crouched beside it, fingers trembling as the ship reacted. Lights danced along the walls, forming patterns, resonating like distant echoes of a heartbeat. "It's responding to intent," Malik murmured. The words sounded absurd, but the evidence was undeniable. When he and Lena focused together, the panels shifted faster, conduits rearranged, and the dormant systems hummed with rising power. But it wasn't just the ship that responded, it was the humans too. A low vibration ran through Malik's chest, almost like anticipation or warning. Every engineer in the room felt it. A subtle alignment, a synchrony between human minds and alien design. "This isn't just technology," Lena said, voice trembling with reverence. "It's a covenant, or a bond." Malik allowed himself a grim smile. "A covenant we have to earn." The days bled together. The team adapted human systems to alien architecture, fusion cores stabilized with adaptive AI algorithms, propulsion calibrated with human intuition, defensive grids repurposed with Earth alloys. They argued, laughed, cursed, and occasionally prayed in whispered tones when the machinery hummed dangerously close to incomprehensible thresholds. Malik watched them, feeling the surge of human ingenuity. They weren't perfect. They were terrified, exhausted, often panicking when the alien systems rejected their interventions. And yet, they persevered. Through ingenuity and stubborn faith in themselves, they began to bend the impossible into the conceivable. One night, after weeks submerged in the vessel's depths, Malik found himself alone in a control chamber, staring out through a reinforced viewport at the endless blackness of the Pacific. The ship's corridors glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. He whispered into the silence, "Not luck. Someone wanted me to live. Someone wanted us to find you." It wasn't chance, he realized. It was deliberate. Divine subtlety threaded through coincidence, survival, and the strange recognition between human and alien. The universe had a way of nudging the determined, the desperate, the faithful. Malik drew a deep breath, as if inhaling courage itself. Then the unexpected happened. A chamber deep within the vessel, untouched by human hands, began to stir. A holographic interface flickered to life, projecting incomprehensible shapes and symbols. A voice deep, resonant, alien vibrated the air. Not words, but a sequence of thoughts, impressions, intentions. The engineers froze. Malik stepped forward cautiously. He extended a hand. And the ship shifted in response. A subtle alignment of light traced his fingers, following, matching, almost mirroring his heartbeat. "They recognize you," Jiro said in awe. "It's listening." Malik felt a rush of emotions: fear, exhilaration, reverence. "Not just listening," he corrected softly. "Waiting, learning, adapting." For the first time, the humans truly understood what they were facing. This was no longer salvage. No longer repurposing, they were co-creators. And the Leviathan would respond only to human minds. Their courage, creativity, and persistence had earned it. But with realization came doubt. The alien vessel was vast, its potential devastating. Could humans really control it? Could their ingenuity withstand the temptation, the danger, the sheer scale of power? Malik's chest tightened. Responsibility weighed heavier than any ocean pressure he had ever felt. And then came the first warning. A tremor ran through the hull, faint at first, like a whisper of foreboding. Systems realigned themselves violently. Corridors flickered between solid and impossibly fluid states, and the lights pulsed in alarm. The ship wasn't rejecting them, it was testing them, challenging them. Malik clenched his fists. "We adapt, we survive. That's what humans do." Hours later, the tremors subsided and calm returned, but the team knew deep in their bones that the vessel was alive in ways they had barely begun to fathom. It had purpose. And that purpose had yet to reveal itself fully. Lena touched Malik's arm. "Do you think it will fight for us?" He looked at her, eyes reflecting the ghostly glow of alien systems. "It will, if we earn its trust. But it won't just fight. It will bond, and only then will it truly belong to us." The horizon's reach above rippled under moonlight, carrying a weapon forged by centuries of war and the ingenuity of the human spirit. Humanity was no longer just scavenger, survivor, or underdog. They were architects of reclamation, reclaiming the impossible from the jaws of the stars. Malik watched the alien corridors pulse, and for the first time, he whispered a prayer, not for himself, but for the souls of the engineers below. And somewhere, in the quiet vastness of the universe, it felt like someone or something heard. The Leviathan stirred again, deeper this time, as if testing its new alliance. And Malik knew that when the time came, humans and alien metal would not merely survive, they would rise. But first, the ship had to truly awaken. And as the Leviathan's heart began to pulse in tune with human hands, Malik realized, some bonds demand courage that no training can teach. The Pacific night above was calm, deceptively serene, as if the ocean itself sought to lull humanity into complacency. But inside the alien vessel, the air was charged, vibrating with latent energy that no human sensor could fully quantify. Malik Ortiz paced the narrow corridor of the Leviathan, footsteps echoing like distant thunder. The crew moved around him, cautious, eyes wide, aware that even a single misstep could cascade into disaster. Weeks of labor had forged tentative control over the ship, but now came the first true test. A warning pulse ran through the hull. Not mechanical, not electrical, something deeper, resonant in the very structure of the vessel. Panels flickered violently, and conduits shifted unpredictably. The alien systems were alive and, by some incomprehensible logic, displeased. Lena's fingers flew across the interface, translating sequences of alien symbols into approximations of meaning. Her voice trembled, caught between fear and exhilaration. It's rejecting our modifications, but not entirely. It's testing our intent." Malik felt a familiar surge of adrenaline. In all his years of engineering, no challenge had compared to this. The ship wasn't broken. It was alive, and like any living thing, it demanded respect and comprehension. "Step back," Malik commanded, though his own hands itched to intervene. "We need observation first. Reaction second." The vessel's corridors contorted around them. Walls shimmered, lights bending to angles that defied human perception. The floor pulsed beneath their boots like a heartbeat. Engineers stumbled, minds teetering on the edge of vertigo. But Malik pressed on, determined to face the trial head-on. The first failure came in the propulsion core. A surge of alien energy spiked through human-modified conduits, threatening to rupture the fusion chamber. Sparks rained like miniature fireworks, and Jiro dove, yanking the stabilizer offline just in time. "Chief," he shouted over the alarms. "If we don't stabilize this, it'll fry the hull. We could lose everything." Malik's jaw tightened. He felt the weight of leadership compress in his chest like the pressure of the trench itself. Every life under his command, every hope pinned on this Leviathan, it rested with him. And yet, in the chaos, a spark of clarity emerged. This is human ingenuity under pressure, not brute force. Not alien tech alone, us. He raced to the console, his mind mapping a solution faster than thought. "We can't just patch it," he muttered. "We adapt it. Rewire the feedback loops, make it respond to human intention, not alien algorithm." The team froze for a heartbeat. That was madness. That was genius. That was exactly Malik. "Do it," he said. "We survive by understanding. By thinking faster than fear." Hands flew across panels, sweat dripping into interfaces. Warnings beeped in shrill protest. Sparks hissed and danced along alien conduits. Yet, slowly, painstakingly, the fusion core stabilized, harmonizing human modification with alien architecture. A cheer rose, muffled by the pulsing walls. Malik felt a flush of relief, tempered immediately by exhaustion and awe. The Leviathan had accepted their intervention, but only tentatively. In the aftermath, silence fell. The corridor glowed faintly, the ship almost holding its breath alongside them. Malik leaned against a console, eyes closed. It is alive. And it is learning from us. But even in victory, doubt crept like a shadow. Could humans truly control what had once been a war engine of galactic destruction? The thought gnawed at Malik, pressing on him during moments of quiet reflection. He found Lena sitting alone in a side chamber, staring at the alien heart of the ship. "Do you ever wonder," she whispered, "if it's choosing us? Or just tolerating us because it has no other options?" Malik sat beside her, letting the silence carry their shared weight. "I think it's not about choice in the way we understand it. It's about recognition. It knows we're human, and humans, we never quit. That's what it's responding to." Jiro entered then, rubbing his neck. "Recognition or not, Chief. We can't ignore the cost. One mistake in here, and we die. Or worse, we fail humanity." Malik's gaze hardened. Every triumph has cost. Every innovation demands risk. That's human nature. That's what the ship and the universe is testing. Are we worthy of survival? Of power? Of legacy? A tremor ran through the Leviathan, subtle but unmistakable. The ship's lights flickered in patterns that mimicked human cardiac rhythms. The vessel had acknowledged them, not merely as intruders, but as participants in something greater than themselves. Hours later, Malik stood alone on the observation deck, staring into the ink-black ocean above. Stars glimmered faintly through breaks in the clouds. His fingers brushed the reinforced glass. "This can't just be an accident," he whispered. "Not luck. Someone or something wanted us to find it." The human spirit had always survived through ingenuity, courage, and stubborn faith. Now, for the first time in centuries, it had a vessel worthy of its will. And Malik understood. Victory would not come from brute strength. It would come from understanding, from adaptation, from daring to face the impossible with empathy, intellect, and persistence. But the Leviathan had one more lesson to teach. A sudden pulse reverberated through the hull, sharper, faster, almost like a heartbeat caught in panic. Lights flickered violently, corridors twisted unpredictably. The ship was testing them again, harder this time. Malik's jaw tightened. "It's not finished with us, and I swear, we will not fail. Humanity doesn't back down, not now, not ever." The engineers braced, hands steady despite the chaos, minds focused despite fear. Each pulse, each tremor, became a measure of their resolve. And for the first time, Malik felt it. The Leviathan wasn't just a weapon. It was a mirror of human will, a crucible in which courage and creativity forged survival. Somewhere deep in the alien architecture, the ship aligned itself with their intentions, whispering in pulses and lights, "You are human. You are worthy. You are the inheritors of this legacy." And in that moment, Malik realized the truth. The Leviathan would not merely respond, it would rise with them. The first trial had been survived. But the true test, the confrontation that would define humanity's fate, had only just begun. And somewhere in the glowing corridors, the Leviathan whispered back, ready to awaken fully. But only if humans could endure its final trial. The Leviathan lay silent beneath the waves, yet silence in its corridors was a misnomer. Every surface hummed with anticipation. Every panel pulsed faintly in response to the humans who dared to touch it. Malik Ortiz felt it in his chest, a resonance that was neither mechanical nor organic, but something between, a living intelligence observing, judging, teaching. Weeks of grueling labor had brought the team to the edge of exhaustion. Sleep cycles blurred. Meals were brief, often skipped. The engineers' hands and minds tethered to the alien vessel, as if its heartbeat had become their own. The corridors of the Leviathan twisted unpredictably, forcing constant adaptation. Humans survived on instinct and calculation, their ingenuity tested at every step. And yet, tension had begun to gnaw at the crew, not from fear of the ship alone, but from each other. Jiro leaned against a console, voice low and sharp. "Chief, we've been at this for weeks. Maybe it's too much, maybe. Maybe this thing isn't meant for us." Malik's gaze hardened. "Nothing worth surviving is ever meant to be easy. If we walk away now, everything we've built, everything humanity's fought for, dies with it." Lena stepped in, eyes blazing. "It's not just difficulty, Jiro. It's choice. The ship. It tests more than systems. It tests us. It wants to see who we are, what humans are capable of." Jiro's jaw tightened. "And if it rejects us, what then?" Malik's eyes swept over them, the faint luminescence of alien corridors reflecting off his features. "Then we adapt. That's what humans do. That's why we survive." Their argument dissolved into tense silence as a subtle tremor pulsed through the Leviathan. Lights shimmered in intricate patterns, corridors bending slightly as if nudging them forward. Malik felt the resonance again, deeper, almost intimate. The ship recognized doubt and fear. It tested not for malice, but for honesty. Hours later, Malik crouched beside the main interface. Sweat clung to his brow as he traced the alien etchings, their patterns coiling in elegant chaos. He spoke quietly to himself. "You're alive. You know us, and we know you. But are we ready?" The Leviathan responded. A faint hum, almost musical, pulsed along the hull, synchronizing with Malik's heartbeat. He froze, recognition or a challenge. A sharp alarm shattered the contemplative silence. The power grid had destabilized human modifications and alien systems clashing violently. Sparks arced dangerously across panels. Lena shouted, fingers flying across her controls. "We can reroute the core, but it'll take precision." One slip, and Malik moved with practiced speed, recalibrating, improvising circuits with hands that had built entire vessels from scrap metal and human ingenuity. Sweat and fear mingled, his pulse racing, but he didn't hesitate. Humans don't freeze. Humans survive. The pulse subsided. Systems stabilized. The Leviathan hummed softly, almost approvingly. Malik exhaled, feeling a strange intimacy with the vessel, as though it acknowledged human courage and patience. Later, alone in a side chamber, Malik allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. He traced the alien metal with his fingertips, whispering to the darkness. "Not luck. Someone wanted us to find you. Someone guided us this far." His eyes rose to the faint shimmer of stars beyond the viewport. "God, or the order of the universe. Whatever it is, thank you." But even in that quiet, subtle reverence, the weight of responsibility remained. The Leviathan could not merely exist. It demanded partnership, trust, and mastery. Malik knew the ship's final trial was approaching, one that would test their humanity as much as their engineering skill. Conflict within the team escalated in small human ways. Arguments flared over methodology, ethics, and the dangers of fully activating the vessel. Lena questioned whether wielding such power was right. Jiro doubted their capacity to control a warship designed to annihilate civilizations. Malik bore these tensions in silence, reminding himself that the Leviathan didn't demand perfection. It demanded courage, clarity, and creativity. One night, deep in the ship's observation deck, Malik watched the ocean outside, black and infinite. His mind replayed centuries of human history. Wars survived, civilizations rebuilt, ingenuity triumphing over impossibility. He whispered, almost to himself, "We endure because we must. We innovate because it's our nature. And we rise because someone or something gives us a chance." A low vibration ran through the Leviathan, almost imperceptible at first, then growing, pulsing with purpose. Malik felt it in his chest. The vessel wasn't just alive, it was ready to bond. He returned to the engineers. "Listen," he said quietly. "We've passed every trial it has set for us. Every hesitation, every failure we've learned. The Leviathan trusts us enough to awaken fully, but we must be ready. Every decision from now on carries consequences far beyond this ship. Lena nodded, eyes reflecting both awe and fear. It's not just a machine, Chief. It's a being now, and it's human in the ways that matter. It understands courage, persistence, even empathy. Jiro exhaled, tension slowly ebbing from his frame. Then we have no choice but to see this through. Humanity doesn't step back from the impossible. Malik's hand rested on the main interface, feeling the pulse beneath his palm. The Leviathan responded, lights tracing intricate arcs along its hull. We are ready. Show us what humanity can do. As the vessel thrummed in sync with human hands, Malik realized the truth. The Leviathan was not simply an alien weapon. It was a crucible for humanity itself, reflecting the courage, ingenuity, and faith that had allowed them to endure millennia of cosmic chaos. And somewhere in the quiet of the abyss, Malik felt it again, a subtle, unnameable presence. Not instructing, not guiding overtly, but quietly threading the human spirit with purpose. Coincidence had become meaning, survival had become destiny. The Leviathan shivered once, then pulsed, sending ripples through the corridors. Malik met Lena's gaze. "This is it," he said. "The final trial before we rise. Or fall." Above the surface the Pacific slept. Below, the Leviathan waited, and humanity was about to claim it as its own. And when the Leviathan awakens, the ocean will no longer be enough to contain what humans have dared to reclaim. The abyss trembled as if the ocean itself understood the moment. Malik Ortiz stood at the helm of the Leviathan's observation deck, hands pressed lightly against the alien controls. The corridors pulsed in anticipation, responding to his heartbeat as though the ship had learned to synchronize with human life. "Everyone ready?" he asked, voice low but resolute. Lena and Jiro nodded, eyes reflecting the soft glow of alien panels. Around them, the crew braced. They had endured trials, sleepless nights, arguments, failures, and small victories, but nothing like this. The Leviathan's awakening would not merely be a test of technology. It was a test of humanity itself. Malik inhaled, steadying himself. "Then let's begin." He initiated the first sequence. The ship's hull vibrated subtly, then more insistently, energy cascading through corridors in waves of luminescent rhythm. The alien conduits responded to human modifications, hums and pulses forming patterns that resembled thought more than mechanics. The Leviathan was not just operational, it was aware, conscious in ways humans could feel but not name. A sudden alarm flared. The main energy cores surged, threatening to overload. Sparks rained like liquid fire along the conduits, and the ship trembled violently. Lena lunged to stabilize the system, hands moving with precision, improvising where human logic could complement alien design. "Adjusting the feedback loop now," she shouted. Malik's hands moved instinctively, rerouting energy flows, synchronizing with Lena's efforts. The tremor passed, and the Leviathan's heartbeat slowed, pulsing steadily like a living creature that had accepted its new masters. Then came the first sign of true awakening. The ship extended tendrils of energy along the hull, probing the water outside as though testing its own boundaries. Lights traced intricate arcs along the corridors, illuminating the crew with spectral beauty. The Leviathan had learned, adapted, and chosen. Jiro, normally stoic, whispered, awestruck, "It's alive, truly alive. And it's human now in its own way." Malik's eyes burned with quiet pride. Not human in form, human in spirit. Courage, creativity, persistence. These are what it recognizes. That's what it honors. The first trial of human control had passed. But the awakening was not merely technical, it was emotional. The crew felt a bond forming, subtle yet unbreakable. The Leviathan responded not to commands alone, but to intention, empathy, and human ingenuity. Hours later, Malik stood alone in a side chamber, staring at the alien heart of the ship. He traced the pulsating conduits with his fingers, feeling them resonate with his own heartbeat. Not luck, someone or something wanted us to survive. Wanted us to command this. A subtle shiver ran through him as he glanced at the stars visible through the observation viewport. He whispered into the quiet, "God, if you are there, I feel you now. Not as guidance, but as witness. We've been given a chance. And we will not waste it." The Leviathan responded to his words in the faintest pulse of light along the hull. Malik smiled, a mix of awe and fear. The bond was real. The ship had awakened, but it would demand more than engineering skill. It required human resolve, empathy, and courage in the face of impossible odds. The next days were spent calibrating, testing, and learning the ship's limits. The Leviathan responded differently to each crew member, testing their patience and ingenuity. It rejected arrogance, rewarded humility, and acknowledged courage. Malik watched it all unfold, realizing that humanity's greatest strength lay not in technology, but in persistence, collaboration, and heart. One evening, deep in the vessel, Lena approached Malik. "Do you think it understands why we fight?" Malik studied the pulsing corridors. "Not like us, not in words. But it feels it. It knows humans survive against impossible odds. That's enough for it. That's enough for us." Then came the subtle warning they had been expecting. Sensors detected faint disturbances in near-Earth space alien fleets returning, scanning, probing, looking for the abandoned vessel that had once belonged to them. The war they thought long over had not ended. Humanity's trial was about to move from the dark abyss to the cold stars. Malik's jaw tightened. "It's time." He activated the Leviathan's propulsion fully. The ship shuddered once, a deep, resonant vibration that felt almost like a roar. Then it moved not merely through the water, but with intent, grace, and power that belied its size. The ocean trembled in response, waves rippling across the surface in echo of the vessel's awakening. Lena and Jiro exchanged glances, disbelief and awe mingling. "We've done it," Lena whispered. Malik looked at the team, his chest swelling with pride and determination. "We didn't just wake a ship, we reclaimed humanity's place. We turned abandonment into opportunity. We turned despair into legend." The Leviathan responded to him, lights pulsing in rhythm with his own heartbeat. The bond was complete. It would fight with them, for them, not because it had to, but because humans had proven worthy. As the first alien scouts approached near-Earth orbit, the Leviathan stretched its immense hull upward, cutting through the ocean and sky, ready for the trials to come. The vessel was no longer a relic. It was a weapon of retribution, a testament to human courage, ingenuity, and faith. And Malik knew, deep in his bones, that the real battle, the one that would define humanity, was about to begin. The Leviathan had awakened. And so had humanity's retribution. And as alien fleets darkened the skies, the humans realized they were no longer mere survivors. They were architects of vengeance, and the Leviathan was their hand. The sky above Earth burned with the faint shimmer of distant fleets, alien ships drifting like shadows against the cold void of space. Malik Ortiz stood at the Leviathan's control deck, hands gripping the alien interface as if holding the pulse of the world itself. His crew worked around him, sweat and fear mingling with determination. "This is it," Malik said, voice steady despite the adrenaline thrumming through his chest. "We've rebuilt, we've bonded, and now we show them what humanity can do." Lena's fingers danced across her console, rerouting energy through hybrid systems, adapting alien power to human strategies. Jiro monitored the external sensors, tension etched into every line of his face. The alien fleet was enormous, countless vessels organized with brutal precision. But the humans had one advantage: ingenuity, courage, and the Leviathan. The first shots came without warning. Alien lasers streaked the upper atmosphere, vaporizing clouds and igniting the ocean's surface below. The Leviathan responded instantly, its hull shimmering as energy shields sparked into life, calibrated to the exact frequency of alien weaponry. Malik felt the resonance beneath his feet, the ship reacting, anticipating, learning. "Divert power to the forward conduits," Malik shouted. "We're not just surviving, we're fighting back." Lena's fingers flew, rerouting energy like a concert pianist conducting chaos. The Leviathan pulsed with light, each strike of alien fire absorbed and converted into propulsion, shields, or countermeasures. It moved like a living predator, slicing through the ocean and climbing toward the sky, bridging water and air with terrifying grace. "Chief, it's learning faster than we anticipated," Jiro said, awe and fear mingling. "It's almost anticipating their move." Malik allowed a brief smile. "Of course it is. Humans adapt, we improvise. That's why we survive." The first alien vessel broke formation, descending toward Earth's surface with the intent to annihilate. Malik focused, feeling the Leviathan's heartbeat synchronize with his own. He extended his hand to the controls, not pressing buttons but intending the ship to intercept. The Leviathan surged forward like a predator released, intercepting the alien craft before it could strike. Energy tendrils lashed out, disabling weapons and engines without destroying the hull entirely. The human crew held their breath as the alien pilot seemed shocked something alive was matching them. Something human was guiding a weapon beyond imagination. Lena whispered, almost in disbelief, It trusts us, fully." Malik's jaw tightened. "And we'll trust it, fully." The battle escalated. Alien vessels swarmed, firing in synchronized waves. The Leviathan twisted and shifted, adapting in real time. Every maneuver combined human improvisation and alien technology, a synergy the enemy had never anticipated. Lasers struck, shields flared, and the water and sky became a theater of raw power and precision. Amid the chaos, Malik's mind raced through possibilities. They had the power, but every choice carried consequences. One miscalculation could annihilate the Leviathan or provoke the alien fleet into a retaliatory wave of unimaginable scale. He focused not on fear, but on clarity. We survive because we understand. We survive because we are human. Then came the turning point. One massive alien dreadnought broke through the perimeter, its weapons aimed at a populated coastal city. Malik felt the Leviathan respond to his heartbeat, almost like a warning. He extended his consciousness through the hybrid interface, guiding the ship with instinct, courage, and trust. The Leviathan shot upward, slicing through the ocean and breaching the stratosphere. Energy pulses ripped through the dreadnought's shields, disrupting its weapon arrays. The human ingenuity of their modifications, combined with the Leviathan's alien core, turned the alien weapon against itself. Jiro shouted over the comm, "Chief, we're actually doing it. We're winning." Malik exhaled sharply. "We're doing more than winning. We're showing them humanity refuses to be subdued." But victory came at a cost. The Leviathan shuddered under the strain of overclocked systems, and minor conduit failures erupted. Sparks and alarms filled the control room. Lena worked frantically to stabilize power, sweat streaking her face. Malik's hands flew across the interface, improvising solutions in real time. The Leviathan groaned under the strain, yet it endured, carrying the humans and their ideals into battle. And then, in the midst of chaos, Malik looked out at the stars and whispered, almost instinctively, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive this. Someone wanted humanity to rise." The alien fleet faltered. Their formations disrupted, coordination broken, as the Leviathan moved with both cunning and purpose. Humans were no longer prey, they were predators of their own destiny, wielding intelligence, courage, and faith as weapons. The battle reached its crescendo. The Leviathan executed a final audacious maneuver, twisting in ways alien architects had never anticipated, delivering a precise strike that disabled the dreadnought and scattered the attacking fleet. The ocean below erupted in energy bursts, the sky above crackling with hybrid power. For a brief moment, silence fell. The Leviathan pulsed gently, almost sighing, as if exhausted yet proud. Malik leaned against the console, chest heaving, eyes wet with sweat and disbelief. Humanity had not only survived, they had triumphed against impossible odds. Lena touched his arm. We did it, together. Humans and Leviathan, Malik nodded, voice quiet but filled with resolve. And this is just the beginning. We've reclaimed something they thought lost forever. And they'll come again. Above, the alien fleet retreated, warships scattering like shadows into the void. But below, the Leviathan pulsed alive, attuned to human courage and ingenuity. Humanity had turned abandonment into power, despair into retribution. Malik stared out at the dark horizon. And when they return, we'll be ready, not just with weapons, but with what makes us human. The ocean, the sky, and the stars themselves seemed to pause, acknowledging the indomitable will of humanity. And somewhere, deep within the Leviathan, a voice or perhaps a presence whispered, "This bond is only the beginning, and the real war has yet to start." The void of space above Earth was a canvas of stars, but those stars were darkened by alien vessels, an armada of incomprehensible scale, moving with predatory precision. Malik Ortiz stood on the Leviathan's bridge, every sense alert, every nerve firing. The hybrid vessel pulsed beneath him like a living thing, attuned to his heartbeat, his resolve, his intention. "Formations tightening," Jiro reported, voice taut with tension. "They've coordinated perfectly. They want the Leviathan." "And us." Malik clenched his fists, staring at the advancing fleet. "Let them come. Humanity doesn't run. We adapt, we fight. And we endure." Lena's hands danced across the hybrid interface, rerouting energy and recalibrating shields. Sparks flew, the ship responding in real time. The Leviathan's systems hummed like a war dragon awakening, alive in ways the aliens had never anticipated. The first wave struck. Alien weapons tore through the upper atmosphere, slicing clouds and igniting the ocean below. The Leviathan responded instinctively, shields flaring, energy tendrils lashing out, converting incoming fire into countermeasures. It moved with fluid grace, a predator in both water and space, guided by human ingenuity and will. Malik felt the pulse beneath his feet, the ship's heartbeat syncing with his own. He closed his eyes for a moment, whispering into the hum of power. "We survive because we endure. We endure because we refuse to quit." The Leviathan surged forward, ramming a smaller alien vessel with precision, disabling its systems without annihilating it entirely. Humans were not just piloting a weapon, they were commanding a living force. Every move, every calculation was infused with courage, intuition, and relentless creativity. But the alien armada was relentless. They adapted quickly, flanking from unexpected angles, coordinating attacks with ruthless efficiency. Jiro shouted warnings as lasers streaked across the void. "They're learning too." "Chief, we need—" Malik interrupted, voice calm but firm. "We never stop learning. That's what makes us human. Adapt, improvise, overcome. The Leviathan knows us, it trusts us, and it fights with us." He activated a complex maneuver when the Leviathan had mirrored from human intuition and alien engineering alike. The ship twisted, channels of energy arcing through space, launching electromagnetic pulses that disabled multiple enemy vessels at once. The alien pilots reeled, unprepared for this synergy of mind, courage, and machine. "Chief, it's like it's anticipating our thoughts," Lena whispered, awestruck. Malik nodded, feeling the bond deepen. Not anticipating, recognizing, trusting, responding to will. One massive dreadnought emerged from the formation, a Kuto, vessel larger and deadlier than the rest, its weapons focused on a human city below. Malik's chest tightened, but fear was a luxury he could not afford. He reached into the Leviathan's systems, extending not commands, but intent: protect humanity. The Leviathan surged upward through the atmosphere, a black Leviathan of alien metal pulsing with human courage. Energy tendrils struck with precision, disabling weapon arrays, forcing the dreadnought into evasive maneuvers. The crew's fear dissolved into exhilaration. They were witnessing human ingenuity and determination manifested as living, unstoppable force. Still, the cost became clear. Minor systems overloaded, conduits sparking violently. Lena worked frantically, stabilizing the flow, sweat streaking her face. Malik's hands flew across alien controls, improvising solutions where logic alone could not suffice. The Leviathan groaned under the strain but endured. Then, in a moment of clarity, Malik felt something beyond technology, beyond ingenuity. A subtle presence, vast and incomprehensible, threaded through the chaos. Not guiding, not commanding, but witnessing. Survival, endurance, and courage were being observed and honored. He whispered, almost instinctively, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive. Someone wanted humanity to rise." The Leviathan responded, as if acknowledging the words, pulsing brighter, moving faster, striking harder. Alien vessels faltered, formations broken by maneuvers no AI could have predicted, no programming anticipated. Humanity's ingenuity, faith and courage became weaponized, amplified by the Leviathan's alien systems. In the climax of the engagement, Malik executed a maneuver so audacious it risked everything. The Leviathan dove into the void between two dreadnoughts, channeling energy from human-modified conduits and alien cores, and released a pulse that disabled both ships simultaneously. The Armada's command structure wavered, confusion rippling through their ranks. The humans aboard the Leviathan cheered not in triumph, but in awe. Humanity had not only survived, they had rewritten the rules of engagement, using creativity, courage, and willpower against a superior enemy. But Malik knew this was not the end. The fleet was scattered, but it would regroup. The Leviathan was alive, powerful, bonded, but the true test of endurance and human ingenuity had only begun. He looked out at the alien vessels retreating into the void, then turned to his crew. "We've shown them what humans can do. Not because we have weapons, but because we have heart, mind, and faith. And the Leviathan, it's ours, now. But we will need all of it." Lena touched his arm. "We didn't just survive, Chief. We became what they didn't expect. We became something more." Malik nodded, eyes on the distant stars. "We are human. We endure. And we rise even when the odds are impossible." Above, the stars shone quietly. Below, the Leviathan pulsed. And somewhere, a subtle hand of providence acknowledged the courage of humanity. And as the alien fleets licked their wounds and regrouped, Malik knew the war for Earth's future had only just begun, and the Leviathan would be humanity's unyielding hand of retribution. The night sky above Earth had become a theater of fire and shadows. Alien warships drifted like predatory leviathans, their weapons tearing through the atmosphere with merciless precision. Yet beneath it all, the Leviathan moved with purpose, a living testament to human ingenuity and resolve. Malik Ortiz stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the approaching enemy. The vessel pulsed beneath him, a heartbeat in sync with his own, a symphony of alien metal and human determination. Every system, every conduit, every pulse of energy was a reflection of the humans aboard. Courageous, inventive, unyielding. "Chief," Jiro said, tension heavy in his voice, "we've exhausted all standard countermeasures. Their formations are adapting to every maneuver we make. One wrong step," Malik's jaw tightened. "Then we don't step wrong. We improvise. That's what humans do." Lena's hands flew over the hybrid controls, rerouting energy, improvising conduits, and stabilizing shields. The Leviathan responded like a living predator, anticipating, adapting, moving beyond pre-programmed design. Human intuition guided alien technology, and the combination was devastating. The first wave of the alien armada surged. Missiles arced through the sky, energy beams lancing toward Earth. The Leviathan twisted through space and ocean alike, absorbing strikes, converting energy, and striking back with precision. Every move was a testament to human courage, the crew working not as individuals, but as a unified mind. Malik felt the pulse of the Leviathan beneath his hands. It was alive, aware, attuned. Not just to his commands, but to his intent, his fear, his courage. We are worthy, he thought. We are human. Suddenly, a massive alien dreadnought descended toward the surface, its weapons aimed at a coastal city. Malik's pulse quickened, but he did not hesitate. He extended the Leviathan's energy tendrils, guiding the attack with thought, creativity, and precision. The dreadnought staggered, disabled without annihilation, a display of human ingenuity turning destruction into control. Lena whispered, almost reverently, It trusts us completely now." Malik allowed a brief smile. "We've earned it. Not by luck, not by chance. By courage, ingenuity, and willpower." The alien fleet faltered, formations breaking as the Leviathan executed maneuvers no AI could anticipate. Humanity's ingenuity, amplified by the vessel's alien systems, became a force of retribution. Yet even in triumph, the cost was evident. Systems groaned under strain, conduits sparked. Minor failures erupted across the vessel. The Leviathan had pushed itself to its limits, responding to human thought and action in ways the aliens had never imagined. Malik's eyes swept across his crew, fatigue etched on every face, determination shining brighter than fear. He whispered, almost to himself, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive this. Someone wanted humanity to rise." The Leviathan pulsed in response, a subtle acknowledgement of the bond formed between human courage and alien design. Above, the stars shone silently. Below, the ocean rippled as if reflecting the pulse of determination coursing through the vessel. Then came the final maneuver. Malik initiated a daring strategy. The Leviathan dove between two dreadnoughts, energy cascading in arcs that disabled both simultaneously. Alien formations wavered, coordination broken. The humans aboard the Leviathan cheered not in triumph, but in awe. They had turned survival into retribution, ingenuity into legend. Jiro exhaled, disbelief and relief mingling. We actually did it." Malik's gaze remained fixed on the fleeing alien fleet. "This is only the beginning. They will return. They always do. But we've proven something humans survive. We adapt, we rise." Lena touched his arm, voice soft but certain. "We've become what they didn't expect. Something more." Malik nodded, voice firm. "We are human, and the Leviathan is ours. Not as a weapon, but as a testament to courage, ingenuity, and faith." The alien fleet retreated into the void, scattered and broken, but Malik knew this was not the end. Humanity had reclaimed more than a vessel. They had reclaimed hope, ingenuity, and the courage to rise against impossible odds. Somewhere, faint yet undeniable, Malik felt it again, a subtle, vast presence, a witness to human endurance and courage. Not guiding, not commanding, but honoring. The divine, hidden and patient, threading meaning through chaos, watching humanity rise. Malik stared at the stars, whispered, "We endure, we create, we fight, and we survive. Because someone wanted us to." The Leviathan pulsed beneath him, alive in ways beyond comprehension, ready for the trials yet to come. Humanity had turned abandonment into legend, despair into retribution. And the final battle, when the alien fleets returned fully, would see the Leviathan rise as Retribution Incarnate. And somewhere in the vast silence of space and ocean, Malik understood. The Leviathan was not just a weapon, but a mirror of humanity itself, and the ultimate reckoning was yet to come. The void of space above Earth was no longer quiet. The alien armada had returned, vast, coordinated, merciless. It was not a scouting force this time, but a full-scale invasion. Their intent unmistakable: reclaim the Leviathan and annihilate humanity. Malik Ortiz stood at the helm, hands gripping the alien interface as though holding the heartbeat of the planet itself. The Leviathan pulsed beneath him, alive, attuned, and ready. Every energy conduit, every shield matrix, every system bore the mark of human ingenuity. The vessel had learned from them. Now it would fight with them. "Formations closing in fast," Jiro reported, voice tight with tension. "They've adapted to our maneuvers. We can't rely on conventional defenses." Malik's eyes swept the bridge, taking in Lena's intense focus, Jiro's taut vigilance, and the silent readiness of the crew. "Then we adapt faster than they do. This is not just a battle, it's a testament. We survive not because we can fight, but because we can think, create, endure." The first wave struck, plasma lances cutting through the upper atmosphere, laser fire streaking toward cities below. The Leviathan responded instantly, shields flaring, energy arcs converting incoming fire into propulsion and countermeasures. The vessel moved like a living predator, an extension of human will and courage. Malik felt the heartbeat beneath his feet sync with his own. Every decision, every command, every subtle motion of intent guided the ship. The Leviathan was alive not in spite of humans, but because of them. "Chief, it's responding to our thoughts," Lena whispered, awestruck, her hands dancing across the interface. "No," Malik corrected, voice firm. "It's responding to our will. Humans endure. Humans adapt. And now the Leviathan does too." The alien dreadnoughts struck in coordinated waves, targeting strategic cities, populations, and the Leviathan itself. Malik anticipated, improvising maneuvers that turned attack into defense, destruction into control. One vessel barreled toward a coastal city. Malik extended the Leviathan's energy tendrils, redirecting it safely into the ocean, neutralizing threat without unnecessary annihilation. Jiro let out a low whistle. "We're not just surviving. We're rewriting the rules of engagement." Malik's lips pressed into a determined line. "Because we are human. And humans never surrender." The battle intensified. The Leviathan twisted through space and atmosphere, combining alien technology with human ingenuity. The Armada faltered, formations breaking under maneuvers no programming could anticipate. Malik guided the ship, heart cinched with the vessel, mind racing through calculations, strategies, and possibilities. Then came the final, audacious maneuver, the one that would define history. Malik initiated a dive through the center of the enemy fleet, channeling energy from every human-modified conduit, every alien core. The Leviathan pulsed with living power, a black Leviathan of metal and light, striking with precision that annihilated dreadnought after dreadnought. The alien command structure shattered. Chaos rippled through the fleet. The humans aboard the Leviathan cheered not in victory, but in awe, in the recognition of human courage and ingenuity. Amid the chaos, Malik felt it again, a subtle presence, vast and patient. Not guiding, not commanding, simply witnessing. Humanity's courage, ingenuity, and endurance were observed, honored. A quiet acknowledgement threaded through the Leviathan's pulse, a recognition of humans. He whispered, almost instinctively, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive. Someone wanted humanity to rise." The Leviathan pulsed in response, brighter, stronger, more alive than ever. It had become not just a weapon, but a reflection of humanity itself, ingenious, courageous, relentless. The last of the alien dreadnoughts fell. The Armada scattered, retreating into the void. The Leviathan hovered above Earth, battered but unbroken, its systems thrumming in resonance with human heartbeats. Malik turned to his crew, voice heavy with awe and resolve. "We did not just survive. We endured. We adapted. We fought. Humanity has reclaimed what was abandoned, turned despair into legend, and turned a broken starship into Retribution Incarnate." Lena touched his arm softly. "We've done more than win. We've shown them. Humanity cannot be underestimated. We endure because we are human." Malik looked out at the dark horizon, stars reflecting in his eyes. The ocean below rippled, the sky above quieted, and somewhere hidden yet palpable, a presence of vast intelligence and balance, acknowledged their courage. The subtle hand of providence, quiet yet undeniable, had threaded meaning through chaos, allowing humanity to rise. The Leviathan pulsed once more, a living testament to the fusion of human courage, ingenuity, and faith. Malik whispered, "This is just the beginning. Humanity will endure. Humanity will rise. And we will never be broken." Above, stars shone silently. Below, oceans glimmered faintly in reflection. And the Leviathan, alive and bonded with humans, became legend. Humanity had turned abandonment into power, despair into hope, and a broken vessel into the ultimate retribution. The universe had witnessed the rise of something impossible, but profoundly human. And somewhere in the vast silence of space and ocean, Malik understood. The Leviathan was not just a ship, it was humanity itself, unbroken, unyielding, and eternal.